Alright, for tonight's homework help, I'm going to do problem number 44 to start. And here we are factoring these polynomials by grouping. So 44 is x cubed plus 3x squared plus 5x plus 15. Now remember, when we factor by grouping, what we do is we group our first two terms and our second two terms, and we look at the GCF for both of those terms. So now, if you think back to yesterday's work, when we were learning our GCFs, if I look at this first term, I notice that the largest amount of x's that I can pull out would be an x squared. And then what would that leave me with left over? Well, I would have an x plus 3. And if I look at my second grouping here, I notice that I have a 5 in common in both of those terms, and that would leave me with an x plus 3 once I had factored that out. Now we have to go back and look at this new polynomial we have written and notice what it has in common. Well, each of my terms has an x plus 3 in it, so I can factor out an x plus 3, and what would that leave me left over? Well, an x squared plus 5. So this would be my factored form. Now, if you are not entirely sure that you did that correctly, how can you check? Well, multiply it back out. Use FOIL, use your boxes, whichever method you choose to double check. If I do first, I get x cubed. If I do my outside, I get 5x. When I do inside, I get 3x squared. And when I do last, I get 15. And if we compare to our first line up here, you will notice that those are the same polynomials, even though they're just kind of rearranged. So my final answer on this question is x plus 3 times x squared plus 5. And the last one that I'm going to do today will be number 52. That is 5k squared minus k cubed plus 3k minus 15. Sorry, that k got kind of funky. So, I need to group my terms and see what I have in common that I can pull out. If I look at this first set, I have a k squared in common, and when I pull that out, I'm left with 5 minus k. And if I look at my second set here, I have a 3 in common, and that would leave me with a k minus 5. Now, something that you notice when we pull out the positive 3 is that my signs on my factors are switched, right? I have a positive 5 over here and a negative 5 over here. So how can I fix that? Well, I was okay when I pulled out my k squared, but what if I pulled out a negative 3 here? How would that affect my signs? Well, that would make this a negative k and would make this a positive 5. So if you notice now, in these two factors, my signs match up. Even though they're not written in the same order, I still have a negative k and a negative k and a positive 5 and a positive 5. So now if I come through here and look for my common terms in this polynomial the way it's written now, I would notice that I can factor out that 5 minus k and be left with k squared minus 3. Don't forget, you can always check to be sure that you did it right by multiplying everything out. So if I do so, I get 5k squared minus 15 minus k cubed plus 3k. Compare that to your original polynomial, you'll see that they are the same. So my final answer is 5 minus k times the quantity k squared minus 3. Good luck with the rest of your homework.